Lucerne, Switzerland has lakes, mountains, and medieval charm. And in this episode, we're uncovering the very best of it. I'm joined by Carolyn from Holidays to Switzerland to share her top 5 favourite things to do in this stunning Swiss city, along with insider tips, hidden gems, and her number 1 tip for first-time visitors. Hi, and welcome to the Global Travel Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Collins, who, with my expert guests, will take you on a weekly journey to destinations around the globe, providing travel inspiration, itinerary ideas, practical tips, and more to help you plan your next travel adventure. Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 61 of the Global Travel Planner Podcast. This week I'm welcoming my friend Carolyn from Holidays to Switzerland, who's going to talk all things Swiss with you guys. And she was last on the podcast in episode 6. Can you believe that, Carolyn? So we are 55 episodes on from that point. And this time you're going to talk about one particular destination in Switzerland anyway. That's going to be interesting. It's one of my favourite places in Switzerland. But let's start off by just introducing yourself, telling us all about what you do, about your website, about your podcast, and about your love for Switzerland.
Well, thank you, Tracy, for inviting me back again. I really enjoyed our last chat. As you know, I could talk about Switzerland all day. So it's great to be back here and to talk about a favourite destination of both of ours. But yes, to give you and all your listeners a bit of a background about Holidays to Switzerland. I first visited Switzerland back in 1988, a very long time ago. And I fell in love the minute I entered this little village called Lauterbrunnen. And I've been fortunate to return there many, many times. But the short version of a very long story is that in 2019, I started a website called holidaysto-switzerland.com, where I shared or share all my tips and advice for visiting Switzerland, the different transport, the different destinations and so forth. And when the pandemic hit and no one was travelling, I still wanted to keep talking about Switzerland, so I started a podcast, also called the Holidays to Switzerland podcast, and it comes out weekly with brand new episodes, again with lots of travel tips and info and inspiration for visiting Switzerland.
And I've noticed as well, you've had some videos as well on your podcast. So that's really cool. I saw Andy, one of your guests, on an episode the other day. So is that something new that you've decided to try out?
I'm sort of been just dabbling a bit with video. I don't love being on video. There are no well, put it this way, it takes a lot of editing to if you want to look great on video. But it's been a lot of fun, and I've been interviewing some expert guests who are live on location in various places around Switzerland and giving us a tour and giving us lots of information. So they've been a whole lot of fun, and there's quite a few more of those coming up as well.
Well, I think they're brilliant. They're a great way to be shown around a destination by an expert, and while you're asking all your questions about the destination as well. So, I think they're a lot of fun. And, the first thing you think about when you think about Switzerland is just the beauty of the country. And it's just a wonderful way to showcase it. You can watch it and listen at the same time.
Absolutely.
So, definitely really cool.
Yeah, that's one thing that you miss when you listen to a podcast, although it's very convenient when you've just got your earphones in your ear. You don't get to see all those beautiful images, and when you're talking about travel, that's really important. So doing the video episodes is a good way to combine both.
No, I think they're really fun, and it kind of leads us into the destination that we're talking about today, and talking about beautiful destinations in Switzerland. Because as you say, the destination we're talking about is a favourite of both of ours. I've visited, I don't know how many times. My parents didn't live too far away from this particular city. So I'll let you introduce it. I'll also let you describe where it is in Switzerland, which area of Switzerland it is, and what is it about this particular destination that makes it so special.
Well, we're going to be talking today about Lucerne. Yes, definitely one of my favourite places, and as you mentioned, one of yours. It's located in central Switzerland, but it's only about an hour either by car or train from Zurich. So many visitors to Switzerland fly into Zurich. So it's really, really convenient to get to Lucerne. And in fact, you can catch a train straight from the airport. It'll go via the city, but then continue on to Lucerne. So it's very easy to get there. What's so special about it? Well, there's so many things. I mean, it's built beside beautiful Lake Lucerne, which is super, super, impressive. But it's also surrounded by all these mountain peaks, and there's some mountains that you can easily do a day trip or half a day trip even from Lucerne. So you can combine the city sort of visit with the mountains and the lake. The city itself, it's just medieval charm. The Chapel Bridge is one of the most famous sights, and you can't help but fall in love with that when you see it. This old medieval wooden bridge. If you visit in summer, it's adorned with flowers all along the bridge. So it's just beautiful. The old town itself is very attractive. A lot of the buildings are covered in frescoes on the facades, and they have those pretty oriole windows. And it's a city, but it's just like a town, And it's you've got everything that you could possibly need there, but it's not a huge, big, bustling city like you might find in some other destinations or in other countries around the world. So it's got everything, I think. It's got nature. It's got the attractive architecture. There's plenty of museums. I'm sure we'll talk more about some of the things to do in a moment. But it's got everything.
It really has. I'm going to agree with you on that because you've got, like I say, it's a city, but it doesn't feel like you're in a city. You've got that beautiful lake and you've got the backdrop of the mountain. So that's why I'm sure lots of famous people over the years have bought houses on Lake Lucerne. I'm not surprised. I'd be one of them if I was a billionaire, I have to say, because there is a particular house on that lake that every time I've sailed past it, I go, I'd love to buy that house. If I ever become a billionaire, I'll be buying that particular house there. I don't know who it belongs to, but I'm sure somebody very, very wealthy. Anyway, let's talk about your 5 favorite things to do or experiences in Lucerne. So I think for the kind of ability to do this podcast within sort of 35 minutes, we're probably going to go into a bit more detail on a few of them rather than all 5, because we could be here all week, I'm sure. But let's talk about what would be your 5 experiences that when you go, or things to see that you go, right, these are the things that you really should do if you go to Lucerne.
Okay. Well, number one, I'm going to start with, I guess, the heart and soul of Lucerne itself. So around the Old Town and the Chapel Bridge area, if you're arriving by train, you'll actually walk straight out of the station, and you'll almost see the Chapel Bridge as soon as you come out of the station. So it's very, very close. It's very central. So I'd have to say, strolling around the Old Town, visiting the Chapel Bridge and the water tower, which is beside it, has got to be, the first thing that I'd recommend for anyone to do when they're there. Secondly, is to go on a lake cruise. Now, even if you're only in Lucerne for a short amount of time, even if you're only there for a day, you can do cruises from 1 hour up to about 4 hours. So there's really something for everyone. There's lunch cruises, there's dinner cruises, sunset cruises, and on all different kinds of vessels as well. So if you want to go on a Belle Epoque style paddle steamer, you can do that, or a luxury yacht. Yeah, they have everything there. So there's something for everyone. Number 3, I would say this is probably not something that everyone would immediately think of if they're going to Lucerne, but I would say visit one of the smaller villages that's around the lake. Lucerne itself, as we've already mentioned, is a stunning city, but if you get away from there a little, you get quite a different aspect or a different feel on the whole lakeside vibe, I think. Lucerne, of course, is very busy with tourists, but if you hop off one of the cruises, 15, 20 minutes away from Lucerne, you're going to get a much different feel, a smaller town, quite a different ambience. So it's a really nice thing to do. Number 4, of course, is a mountain excursion. And with so many mountains nearby to choose from, this can be a really hard one. Which one do I decide to visit? Mount Pilatus is much closer. I know that's a favourite of yours.
I was going to say, I'm wondering which one you're going to choose because it'd be Pilatus for me, but go on.
Yeah, well, Mount Pilatus is very easy to get to, as they all are, I guess, but Mount Pilatus is what's known as Lucerne's house mountain. It's the closest, and when you're standing in the city centre, you can look up and see it right there. And you can get there by a couple of different ways. So depending on what time of year you go, if you're travelling in summer, you can actually take Europe's steepest cogwheel train to get up to the top. Year round, you can take a cable car, and you can do a combination as well, of course, if you're travelling in summer. So that's a really nice way to do that. Other popular mountain excursions from Lucerne are Mount Rigi. Of course, you can cruise across the lake and then go up Mount Rigi on a cogwheel train as well. Mount Titlis, which is a bit further away above Engelberg. But one of my favourites actually is Mount Stanzerhorn. And you can only visit this one from about, I'm going to say, mid-April till early November. You travel to Stans, which is about 15 minutes from Lucerne, and you reach the summit of the mountain, firstly via this very historic funicular, and then you change to a cable car, which is a double-decker cable car, and the top level is open air, so you can actually stand out on this balcony in the fresh air and go up to the top of Stanzerhorn. And it's far less popular or far less known to international tourists. So chances are when you go there, it'll be much less busy than it is at some of those other 3 mountains that I mentioned.
Well, like I say, I haven't done that one, and I used to live over there, so it just shows you. So yeah, I'll have to try that one next time I go, Carolyn, for sure.
Definitely.
So I know we're going to talk in a bit more detail about some of these in a second, and then your last choice.
My last tip is, of course, try some chocolate.
Yeah, yes.
Now, if you're going to Switzerland, yes, you're going to try chocolate, and you'll probably taste some of the more well-known brands. But there are some really quite boutiquey kind of chocolatiers in Lucerne. One is called Max Chocolatier, which is a very local little company. You can go in and do a tasting and buy some chocolates there. At the Swiss Museum of Transport, they have what they call Swiss Chocolate Adventure, so you can go through and have a look at the production of chocolate, and it's a more of an interactive kind of experience. And then just out of Lucerne, about 8 minutes by train, is the Eschbach chocolate factory, which is a really great experience as well. Again, a very small local producer. You can do tastings. They have a interactive area exhibition, I guess you call it, that you walk through, and you can make your own chocolate bar. And then, of course, there's a cafe and a shop, and you can go home with, as much chocolate as you want. So definitely, yes, do taste some chocolate, but try some from a local producer, not just one of the big name companies.
Oh, that sounds tasty as well. I have to say, I do have a weakness for Swiss chocolate, so that'd be definitely something that's always on my list to have Swiss chocolate, to be honest. So let's do a deep dive into a couple of these. So I don't know which ones you've chosen, but which of those do you want to do a little bit more of a kind of more of an itinerary idea, I guess, in terms of if you're going to plan this in, what should you expect and when should you do it? Obviously, some of these things are better at certain times of year as well. So come on, then I can't wait to find out what are you going to do when we go to Lucerne.
Okay, well, firstly, let's go to Mount Pilatus, because I know you love it. And
I'm very excited.
It really is a great excursion. So if you are going between usually early April and around the end of October, sometimes into November, you can take what's called the Golden Round trip. So starting in Lucerne, now you can go do this in either direction, but I'm going to take you up the mountain by cable car and down by train. So we'll start in Lucerne, and you, from the station, take a bus, which takes less than 10 minutes to get to a little, a suburb called Criens. From there, it's a short walk to the cable car station, where you hop on the first cable car, which takes you up to a place called, or an area of the mountain called Frachmunteg. And once you're there, you can either then just hop off and hop into the next cable car, but there's lots and lots of activities to do at Frachmunteg. So there's a toboggan run, there's rope park, there's a zip line, there's barbecue facilities, and amazing views, and of course, lots and lots of hiking opportunities as well. Once you've done everything you want to do at Frachmunteg, you can then hop into the next cable car, which is called the Dragon Ride. This is a huge cable car that holds a lot of people, probably about 70, I would say, and you take the final, it's about 10 minutes for the final leg up to the top of Mount Pilatus. When you're at the summit, there's quite a few activities and things you can do as well, or exhibitions to look at. The views from up there are just amazing, and I've been lucky enough actually to stay overnight at one of the hotels on the top of Pilatus, and the sunset and the sunrise views are you'll never forget them. They're just amazing. It's so good. Lots of hiking, a few hiking trails you can do up there, and the opportunity to see ibex. They have quite a smallish population of ibex that live on the mountain, so you often get the chance to see them. Once you're ready to leave Pilatus, you can take the world's, I believe it is, steepest cable car down the mountain, which is an experience in itself. Lots of fun, and you then arrive at a little town called Alpnachstad, which is right on the shores of Lake Lucerne. So then you can hop on a boat and cruise back to Lucerne itself. So that's the Golden Round trip.
And it is brilliant. Now, I've done that a couple of times, but I've done it the opposite way around. I've started with the boat trip and ended with the bus trip back into the Lucerne itself. But it's one of my favourite things to do when I go to Switzerland. I love that trip. I just think it's so lovely. And that cog railway, you get some just fantastic views. Then when you get up to the top of the mountain, the views are just stupendous. You just, honestly, you take your camera out, you're just shooting pictures left, right, and centre because it's so gorgeous.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the little gondola I like the little gondola when there's only just a couple of you in the gondola on the last bit. That's really, really pretty, and you get some fantastic views. But it's a lovely trip. That it really is. Is there a way to, because it's quite expensive? We're talking about Switzerland, so it's not a budget trip. Is there a way that you can get a ticket for that might be a little bit cheaper if you plan to do something like that? Because I know you're an expert on kind of rail passes for Switzerland.
Yeah, sure. So you can just buy a ticket for that day trip if you want to. But a lot of people, when they go to Switzerland, they'll have what's called a Swiss travel pass, or if they're traveling in multiple countries, they might have a Eurail pass or Interrail pass, and with those, you do get a discount off the cost of the cog railway and the cable car tickets. I know it's 50% discount with the Swiss Travel Pass. I think it might be 25% discount with the Eurail or Interrail pass. So you can definitely save some money if you've got one of those passes.
Wonderful. And now I know you mentioned when we talked about earlier about some of those other excursions that you can do up the mountains, like Riggy, that you talked about earlier. Have you got articles about those? Because we can link to those in the show notes. Because I know we've just talked about Pilates, but it would be good also to, if anybody's listening and think, oh, I fancy one of the other ones. We can link to those articles in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yes, I've got articles on visiting Mount Riggy, Titlis, Pilatus, and Stanzerhorn, and also an article which compares the big three, Pilatus, Titlis, and Riggy, because often, people might think, oh, not sure which one and how are they different, rather than reading 3 full articles, that it sort of compares them all in the one article. So yeah, I'll give you the links. That would be great if you could share those.
Yeah, no, oh, that'll be really useful. So what is the second option that we're going to jump into?
Okay, so the second option is to visit one of those little lakeside towns, just to get a whole different perspective, I think, of Lucerne and the Lake Lucerne area. One favourite of mine is a town called Brunnen, and this is, I haven't looked up the timetable, but I think it's about a 40-minute, maybe 50-minute ride on the boat from Lucerne to Brunnen. Brunnen is actually a home to a Victorinox outlet or factory. So you can actually go there and make your own pocket knife. Everyone's probably heard of the Swiss Army knife. Victorinox are the official makers of those. So you can go into this shop and choose the size and the style that you want and actually make your own and personalize it. Now, you do have to book ahead to do that, but that's something quite fun to do. In the town itself, I mean, I wouldn't say there's a heap of other things there, as in attractions. There's another small mountain nearby, so you can take a cable car up to it. But there's a beautiful lakeside promenade that you can just have a stroll along, buy an ice cream, and as you wander along, or sit down and have a coffee. And yeah, it's just really pretty. Another couple of other little towns that are also worth visiting. Gersau is one, which has a very attractive church that's worth a look. It's on the other side of the lake to Brunnen, so it gives you a bit of a different perspective from the views that you see of the mountains. And Beckenried is another one. I've actually stayed there a couple of times, and it's a really nice little village as well. So I think just by doing that, most of those, all of those towns you can actually reach by other forms of public transport as well. But it's nice to take a boat from Lucerne. Why not combine your cruise experience with visiting one of those other little towns as well?
Oh yeah, I just think you can't go to Lucerne without going on that lake. You really can't. And then in combining it with visiting one of the little towns is just the perfect way to do it. And do you have a third that you want to? Because that was quite a sneaky, because you fitted in the towns and the boat ride in that one, Carolyn. Very well done.
Okay, well, I mean, like I said at the very start when I was giving you my number one tip, it's got to be just to wander around the old town and take in some of those beautiful buildings. I mean, you've got to walk across the Chapel Bridge, look up and see some of the medieval paintings. Now, unfortunately, although the original bridge is medieval, in 1992 it burnt down, which was just tragic. And it had on it up inside the roof. It had all these paintings from medieval times. Fortunately, some of them had been removed for restoration at the time, so they were the ones that they were able to save, and they've been put back onto the new bridge now. So there's that bit of, there's the old history, but there's the new history as well. So definitely walk across that. At one end of it, you'll find the Jesuit church, which looks quite plain, really, from the outside. But when you go in, you'll just be blown away. It's just pink marble, and it's, oh, wow, all this gold. It's, yeah, very, very beautiful. So that's definitely worth a look. across back into the old town. Like I said before, the buildings have those beautiful facades and oriole windows. It's great to just wander around and find yourself in a little alley or a little square. Even if you don't know where you are, you really can't get lost. So just stroll around and see what you can discover. There's lots of little boutiques, little artisan sort of workshops. Yeah.
And you might come across the I'm going to give it to the wrong name probably, but the lion sculpture in
Oh,
the
yes. Yeah. The dying lion.
that's
Yeah.
it in
Yes.
the wall, which is interesting to see as well.
Yeah. It's very moving. That
Yeah,
a lion carved out of this huge bit of stone, and yeah, it's very touching.
and there's usually go and look for that, and then there's some really lovely cafes as well to go and have a quiche and some salad, which is what we always do, and a drink, and yeah, it's a lovely town to just to wander around in, and you can have a stroll along the lake as well, and
Mm.
yeah, it really is. And actually, when you're saying about the Chapel Bridge. I think I visited it not long before actually the fire, it was devastating at the time. I remember when it happened. But it's nice to see the last time I was back there that it's all been rebuilt and it's you can walk across it. And the last time I was there, it was all the flowers were out in summer and there was swans on the lake, and it's just a beautiful city to wander around as well. And it doesn't feel now I've visited many times and I've never felt that it was overcrowded. It didn't feel like some cities you go to in Europe where you just can't get moved. Looking at you,
Mm.
Paris, and it's just doesn't feel comfortable. But I was feeling Switzerland. I don't know if it's because you've got the lakes, you've got that openness, you've got the mountains. It just feels less busy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a beautiful atmosphere there, and along the river there, sort of just by the Chapel Bridge, all the restaurants and cafes in the summer or in good weather, they have seating outside, so it's great just to sit down and enjoy a drink or a snack or something, and just people watch as well. It's really good. Just relaxing. You've got the mountain backdrop, the lake, and the river right there, the beautiful buildings, and just watch the world go by.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just going to say as well, and I think you probably mentioned at the start, is that if you get the train station is in the center of Lucerne. So you get off the train and you're literally 2 minutes walk away from getting on a boat. It's
Yeah.
that close. So it's very easy. I mean, the Swiss public transport anyway is second to none. It's fantastic. Everything's joined up. You arrive by train and a boat's leaving at the proper time that you expect. There's not you don't have to wait hours and hours. Everything's kind of like clockwork. There you go,
Hmm.
typical Swiss, but it is everything works like clockwork, so it's really good. Now, what about time of year to visit? Do you have a favorite time of year to go to Lucerne?
Look, I usually visit during the summer. Um, it's lovely. I enjoy the longer days, the warmer weather. It's yeah, a great time to visit. Winter just gone, I was in Lucerne and it was beautiful as well. It's nice to see the roof of the Chapel Bridge, had snow on it, and it was just a very different atmosphere. We're actually lucky to be there during the week of the Light Festival. So every January they have a light festival where lots of those buildings like the Jesuit church and the water tower are illuminated with these amazing light installations. So it was really nice to wander around the town at night and see that. And there's quite a lot going on in winter actually with Christmas markets and other sort of festivals and things that they have as well. This year, I'm actually going to be visiting in autumn or fall, so that'll be yeah. I'm looking forward to that, seeing how different the vibe is and how different the mountains look in autumn. But summer is definitely a great time to visit too.
Yeah, definitely. You can't beat if there's warm days and sunny skies and the brightness of it all, the lightness and the warmth.
Yeah.
I haven't just spent winter in Europe. I don't think I'll be hurrying back. I have to say, I just found it. I mean, it was magical. You can't beat in some ways. You can't beat in Northern Hemisphere winter because the cold, but just the Christmas atmosphere and the lights and just the whole, it's just brilliant. Christmas markets. But I don't know. I think I've got softer old age, and I like I like the warmth. But yeah, very special time to go though, for sure. Now, is there any other hidden gems or honourable mentions that you'd like to kind of sneak in there about Lucerne?
Well, there is one. I guess it's a hidden gem, and I have to admit that I'd been to Lucerne quite a few times before I'd actually been to this thing. It's called the Museg Wall, so it's actually the old fortifications of Lucerne. And if you're at the Chapel Bridge, you probably don't really notice it because it's kind of hidden a bit behind the buildings in the old town, but it's not very far. It's probably only a 5 to 10 minute walk from the Chapel Bridge through the old town, and you come up and you're up on a bit of a hill, but the medieval fortifications are still there, and there's nine towers. 4 of those towers you can actually still climb up, and when you do, you just get the most amazing views over Lucerne and the lake with the mountains in the distance. So it's definitely worthwhile hunting out the Museg Wall and going up one of the towers to get those views.
Definitely, and probably staying more than a few hours in Lucerne as well, because I was going to ask, because this will probably lead to the next question, which is kind of, because you help a lot of people plan their travels to Switzerland. Is there kind of I hate the term mistake, but is there something that you see travellers kind of do when they visit in Lucerne that you kind of go, oh, probably best avoided?
Yeah, well, you did steal my thunder there, Tracy.
Sorry.
I was going to say, don't underestimate, the time that you need in Lucerne. I know when people go to Switzerland, they want to try and pack in as much as they possibly can. They want to see all the places. And so many people will only allow a day or sometimes even less in Lucerne. They say, oh, we'll just stop in Lucerne on our way from Zurich to the next place. But honestly, like, you could spend 3 or 4 days in Lucerne and still not see everything or do everything that you want to do. So don't skimp on the time that you allow for Lucerne if you can possibly help it.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And I've been there, say, quite a number of times, and it's definitely worth more than a couple of hours in your itinerary, which is I've seen people do in the past. And I guess that leads me to the question I always end my episodes with, which would be, what is your number one tip that you would share with anyone planning to visit Lucerne for the first time?
I would say, once you get there, have a look around you and then just go and wander. Just go and get lost down those little back alleys. See where it takes you, because even though I've just said go and get lost, you can't actually get lost. You'll always find your way back to the river, to the lake, to the Chapel Bridge, the main hub there of the city. But some of the things that you'll find when you're off wandering down those little alleyways, they're the sort of things that stick with you, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast again, Carolyn, and talking all things Swiss. This time the focus on Lucerne. It's been great to chat about it, because it's such a beautiful city, and definitely 100%, if you're visiting Switzerland, you should be adding that in your itinerary. That's my recommendation. And I will put links to your podcast and to your website and to some of the specific articles as well that we've discussed in the show notes for this episode, which will be at globaltravelplanning.com/episode 61. But Carolyn, it's been great as always to chat all things Swiss.
Thanks again for having me, Tracy. It's been wonderful chatting to you.
And as always, happy global travel planning. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Global Travel Planning Podcast. For more details and links to everything we discussed today, check out the show notes at globaltravelplanning.com. Remember, if you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving us a review on your favourite podcast app, because your feedback helps us reach more travel enthusiasts just like you. Anyway, that leaves me to say, as always, happy global travel planning.